G'day guys, welcome back to SuperCoach with DR and welcome to my round 6 BBL SuperCoach review. Hope you had a ripping week yourself. For the first time I actually got to watch a game live. I went with Spills and Brent and my two sons to watch the Renegades take on the Hurricanes. And let me tell you, it was a pretty bloody boring game to be honest. Probably the most boring one I've been to in the last few years. And the one piece of action when Benny McDermott hit that massive six, I was either in the toilet or grabbing a beer. So spewing about that, but great to catch up with the boys, obviously. But I'm not going to ramble on for this one. We will keep it very short as usual. Quickly go through the side and then more importantly, talk about what trades I'm looking to make this week and then setting up the team into the future for the last two rounds after that. This week, 1,184, which was a top 2% score. Really, really happy with that. Really jumped up the ranks over 750 spots to be sitting just outside the top 1K. And it was probably due to one decision. And let's be honest, it was Hardy versus Short as a captain, wasn't it? If you went down the Hardy line, you'd probably be hurting a little bit this week. But if you stuck to your gut and went your Matt Short, then you'd be a pretty happy camper, I believe, and most likely would have gone up in the ranks. But pretty happy for now. You never know with this game. Things could turn next week, but at this stage, I think I'm looking pretty well set up. So that's it for the intro, guys. Let's see how the team's looking, and then we'll talk about the trades. Alrighty, let's have a quick look at the team. So Inglis with a 125. That was solid over a couple of weeks. Both Hardy and Overton, 84 and 72. We wanted a lot more from those two. Ouch if you had him as captain. Short was okay in that second game for a 56 all up. Crawley, super disappointing over both matches for an average of 14. Just didn't get that one right. Shorty, as you mentioned, with the captain, 264. Chef's kiss, mate. Wonderful from you, son. Both Ty and Richardson were really lucky they junked it up in their last over of the first game. If not for that, would have been absolute dog's breakfast here. And Walter with an 86 on a single game, managed to get his score on field. That's the beauty of having Loops in your side, and I'll talk about Loops in a minute, but he should most likely be your number one trading target this week if you don't currently own him. So that's a quick review of the team, a very, very quick review. Let's get into these trades. So the first thing you'll probably notice is that I've got 10 players on a double already this week. We've got the Scorchers, the Hurricanes, and the Heat all on the double. So we're most likely looking to try to trade out those players that don't have the double, but really, I only need one to get 11 on field, every player with a double this week. So it's going to be an interesting set of trades for me. We look at the players that don't have the double this week. So the first bloke here we've got is Overton, 190K. Do I need him? Probably not. He's a nice player to have as an all-rounder, even on a single. But given the fact I don't have many options to actually trade out, he's probably a pretty obvious one there. Darcy Short's the second one. I don't need him. There's no use for me having Darcy Short on my side anymore. Out you go, son. So 1, 2, pretty easy trade outs. The next bloke that we see is Quinton de Kock. Now, many people may be thinking, third one, easy trade out. But for me, I'm keeping him most likely for the rest of the year. And this is the reason why. I want to use him as a loophole this week. I've got wicket keepers all over the place. I've got Inglis, McDermott, and Billings. May even look to get a Bancroft next week or the week after and prepare for that Sydney Thunder double. So given the fact that he's going to be a loophole this week, but also a loophole for the next 2 weeks, he's out of the tournament now, I'm actually keen on holding him for the rest of the season. So de Kock for me is going to stay in my side. We then look to the next bloke here, Alex Hales. Now, certainly could be a trade-out option, but I've already mentioned that the Thunder have the last double, last round, round 9. So given the fact I've got not a single other Thunder player in my side, I'll probably just want to bank him there for that double. I know I've got a couple of weeks to bring in some other Thunder players, but just for a bit of peace of mind, he's got a decent sort of a break even. I'm pretty keen to keep him there. And then we go to the two blokes without the double in my bowlers, and it's Short and Maxwell. No chance I'm trading out those two. So we've got the two really obvious options here. And then the other two, I'm not keen on trading out in Hales and de Kock, and I've already given reasons why. It'd be crazy to trade out one of these two blokes. I'd much rather have Maxi and Short on a single than plenty of other players here that actually have a double. So it leads me to that decision of who I actually trade out. For me, it's actually going to be, and this is going to be a crazy move in some people's opinion, but I'm actually going to be trading out a player that has a double this week, a player that I probably won't need. And I've got two options here. It's either going to be Zach Crawley or Cooper Connolly. So whose role do I like better? Well, Connolly at the moment, he's batting middle order and he's not getting much of a bowl. Crawley has no chance of a bowl, but you know he's going to bat because he's going to open. Another thing that we've got to keep in mind with the Scorchers players here is particularly probably the fast bowlers. One of these blokes going to get a rest. If that's the case, we need to treat them as single game players. So we really need to try to keep out for the news who will likely be rested. I think a fast bowler might. I don't think it's going to be AJ Ty. It might be someone like a Morris. It may be someone like a Richardson. So that's something else that we need to keep in mind. But even in saying that, I'm not looking to trade any of those guys out, at least if they're named in the first game anyway. So it's going to be Connolly or Crawley for me. I think it's going to be Connolly simply because, as I mentioned, Crawley's most likely going to be opening if they don't drop him for Ineski. I'm not too sure. So let's do this. We're going to get out Overton. We're going to get out Short. And we're also going to get it out Cooper Connolly. Now, I was talking about loops before with Quinton de Kock. I'm looking to get another loop in this week. Now, why am I doing that? Well, if we look ahead to next week, everyone's on a single. We want the best scores possible. We need some loops in order to take advantage of our bench scores. And then if we look to the last game as well, we've also got the Heat that have that bye. So we can use Heat players as a bit of a loophole. Originally, my plan was to bring in a loophole this week and then try to make some money off them the next week. And that bloke was going to be Fergus O'Neill. Watch this bloke live on the weekend, and I was actually pretty impressed with him. Got a negative break even of 30. But I was speaking to a few legends on my Twitter chat, and someone named Toby, who I haven't had much to do with, so shout out to you, legend. He threw another idea out there, and it's probably what I'm going to go with. So I don't think it's a bad idea going with your Fergus O'Neill for this week as a loop and then looking to make some money and then flipping him most likely for a Thunder player. I think you can make up to 30K on him depending on how he goes next week. But there's another bloke here. He's a Heat player. He's DPP and he is absolute basement price. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom here and select this man, Hugo Burden. Now, why am I doing this? I've got a couple of notes here. And again, shout out to Toby. So with this man Burden, we can loop him with Maxi for this week. He then plays the third game the next round. And then obviously the Heat don't play. So he's going to be a super effective loophole, DPP, bargain price as well. That will allow me to take some advantage of some loop scores, as I mentioned. So it sounds a little bit crazy to some, but I'm going to bring in a loop this week and it's going to be Mr. Burden. What am I going to do with the next two trades? Well, I'm going to bring in two blokes that have the double. I want to almost upgrade that Connolly pick to someone who I think has a bit of a decent ceiling. Now, we've got some bowling options. We've got some batters. I'm probably going to go one bowler and one batter. So what I want to do here is I'm just going to start off by filtering with some bowlers here. And I'm also going to filter simply by the Heat and the Hurricanes as well. So we'll go Hobart there, and then we'll go the Brisbane Heat. I'm not looking to bring in any more Scorchers players. You may be tempted to bring in a Morris type, but for me, I'm not running with three fast bowlers from the Scorchers. So if I do bring in a bowler, and I definitely am, it's going to be either from the Hurricanes or the Heat. Now, what I will actually start off by doing is showing you this because it is pretty dire. The Hurricanes bowlers, I am not going near. And what is the reason why? I've got a couple of notes here that I took down on the Hurricanes bowlers. So if we look from rounds 1 to 6, this is the total wickets for each match. So week 1, 4 wickets taken. Week 2, only the 1 wicket. That was against the Scorchers, 1 for 190, 200 and something. Shocking bowling, just did not get the job done. Third week, 5 wickets. That was okay. Fourth week, only the 3 wickets. I think that was rain affected that game just from memory. 8 wickets in round 5. That was their best by far. And then only the 4 wickets in round 6. So they only average 4 wickets per game. The highest bowler score for the whole year has been Paddy Dooley and that's a 63. Not one Hurricanes bowler has a 3-wicket haul to date. That's the reason why I'm not looking to go near him. You could go an Ellis, you could go a Meredith type, but for me, history suggests that we're not going to get a massive score from any one of these bowlers. So I'm going to fade the Hurricanes bowlers. What I'm going to look to do is bring in a bloke who I think is close to a must-have this week. It's a bowler, and it's actually my man, Xavier Bartlett. So where is he? Xavier Bartlett. He's right up the top, so you won't be able to see his statistics there. But again, I do have some notes. And apologies, I'm reading from some notes here. But this bloke has had a terrific season to date. I'm not going to go through everything. I forgot to mention this in the intro. Myself, along with Damon, loose unit, one of my favorite loose units from SuperCoach Heads, we've been invited onto the SuperCoach Hub podcast, 9:30 tomorrow morning AM. So nice and early start tomorrow morning. I don't even know what the time is. It is very, very late. So I won't have a big sleep time, actually. But I'm mincing my words. It is that late at the moment. But I won't go through all of his stats. I'll save that for the podcast tomorrow. But this is what he will score if he just averages what he has for the season. So he's averages 2 wickets per game, 40 points. He's averaged 9 dot balls per game. That is an extra 9 points there. He's actually averaged 10 points in the field. He's had 3 catches and the 1 run out. So over 5 games, that's 50 points. That's another 10 points there. And if you even add in that average for his economy rate, that's a 6. That gives you around 70 points just on averages there. But he's had 3 wicket hauls twice already this season. I'm not going to go on. The last thing I'll say is 75, 81, 47, 107, and 37 for round scores. There is a lot to like about Xavier Bartlett. So for me, he's coming into my side. I've now got 194K to play around with a batter. So I'm going to filter away from here, and I'm going to look at the Hurricanes and Heat batters. So Walter's up the top. I've already got him. No need for that. Chris Jordan as that DPP sort of player, I'm not really keen on. There's probably 2 blokes here that I am taking a really close look at. It's Mac Wright and Colin Munro. The other options that we've got, Chowdhury have got. Nisa just has not been getting those 3 to 4 overs consistently, so not keen there. Corey Anderson could be a bit of a hit and miss type pick. Matty Wade could be an option as that wicket keeper there. Don't know if he'll be back or not. McSweeney, I don't mind. He's okay. McDermott, I've got. Renshaw, no. Hayne, I think, could be a bit of a trap because if you look at his previous scores, I don't know if I've got them here. Hayne, yeah, I've got them here. So his previous scores, 3 duck egg, 14, 11, and 76. So I think that could be possibly fool's gold after last week. We've got Tim David. Oh, man, how's that first over from him? A wicket maiden. Did not get a look in after that. I just don't know if he'll bat or if he'll bowl enough to make it worth it. And just really no one else here is there. You've got Jewel, who's got a decent ceiling. But for me, it's either going to be Munro or Mac Wright. Now, with Colin Munro, he's had a great first round and a dog of a season apart from that. It was at the Gabba, though. He's got the next 2 games at the Gabba, and he's a bloke that's got a massive ceiling. If he goes huge, even gets anything close to what he did in that first week, then this is going to be a big win. We're getting him cheaper as well. I made money on him, sold him. So he's definitely an option. But the other bloke that I really like here is Mr. Mac Wright. The thing with Wright is he loves Blundstone Arena, averages 76.7 at that particular venue. And this is only a small sample size, but the 1 game he's had away, he scored 8, which is obviously last week against the Renegades. Now, the next 2 games he plays is at the Gabba and the Adelaide Oval. So he finds himself away from Blundstone. But at the end of the day, if you look at his average there, 59. Oh, sorry. What's his season average? So, yeah, 59.5. He's head and shoulders above any other of the Hurricanes batters. So, just by average, if we go there, we've got 59, and then we go all the way to Matty Wade with the 47. So, for me, Mac Wright is going to come into my side. Complete those trades. We've got 30K available. Let's see how the side's actually looking now. So I'll just go back up so you can see the doubles coming up there. All right, so how am I actually going to look to set up here? Just go down a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to look to do is get Maxi on field, given the fact that Tall Paul has the first game with the doubles along with the Hurricanes. He's certainly going to be my vice captain. Captain backup's going to be an interesting one. Not sure though, but what I'm looking to do here is if I bring, say, a Burden back up there, even chuck a short there. Yeah, that looks okay to me. So I'm going to loop Maxi for that first game. If he performs, then I'll most likely leave this how it is. If he doesn't perform, then it's an easy one here. Burden comes off, and the Chode comes on. Very easy move there. So that's how I'll probably set up in the bowlers. Now, I'll probably bring De Kock up here. We've got Benny McDermott and Billings with that first game. With the sorry, I say second. It's a second game, but the first game with the doubles. So if I do something like this, Shorty, I'm just going to straight field. I'm not confident on the bloke at the moment that I'm just going to straight field him. Yes, that's what I'm going to do there. So having De Kock as that loop that can go between your wicketkeeper and your batters here, that's going to allow me to have a look at Billings and McDermott when they play their game. They'll play against each other. What I'll look to do is whoever gets the best score out of those two, I'll most likely take that score. So if it's Billings, easy. We've already got De Kock there. And if it's McDermott, it's a simple swap here. McDermott will come into the batters there. And then I'll simply be able to take that score. Nice and easy there. So they're my loops all set for this week. Burden's going to be a great loop looking into the next few weeks as well. I think that's looking all right. Now, what am I going to do as a backup captaincy option? So we'll need to select a scorcher. Do I go Aaron Hardy this week after he was so disappointing the last week? Well, I'm probably more confident on him than what I am with Richo, Ty. Wouldn't go your Crawley. Do you go with Josh Inglis? Maybe he's got a chance of having a few extra points over Hardy, given the fact that he's got the gloves. Do you just go Shorty as your captain? It'd be tempting just on a single the way he's going, wouldn't it? For now, I'm just going to put De Kock as my captain. And that's most likely the way that I'm going to go. So double, 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 double. And we've got the chance for another double having the Chode come on. I'm pretty confident, though, that Maxi should get a decent enough score that will allow me just to loop him, which is okay. Double, 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 most likely double with the single. And then we've got double and double there as well. So I think I'm looking okay for this week. And then looking into the next week, I'll probably look to move on your Hardy types, even a Bartlett type, and look to target some Thunder players. Daniel Sams, 100%. I'm also keen on maybe a Bancroft. Now he's got that DPP status. We'll be able to loop him with some of these other wicket keepers that I've got. Maybe even a Green type. We'll leave that discussion for next week. But that's how the team's looking, guys. Let me know what you are thinking, particularly with your captaincy options for this week. As I mentioned, I will be joining the blokes, the legends from the SuperCoach Hub, along with Damon from SuperCoach Edge tomorrow morning. So I'll retweet the link for the pod and all that sort of stuff there. But that is it for now, guys. All the best of luck for this week, and I'll see you very soon in the next one. All the best. Cheers. Bye.